I'm delighted to be here 3 years after that we launched this with Commissioner Mimica in Istanbul. At the time, we could not believe that we would have so many people getting together to celebrate this second edition of our global food. As you can see on the bottom here, this is the high-level event on the global network against food crisis. I would like to strengthen the issue. Ninika already mentioned that we have now 15 partners. It's not about only those 15 partners that we get. We have a lot of people, NGOs, private sector, that is join us to help us to get this information. It's very hard to obtain those figures that you are receiving because we are on the ground on countries under conflict. This year's 51 countries under conflict. And it's the first time since we agreed on the SDGs to have zero hunger as SDG number 2. This is the first time that we have a good news. Always the last year's 15, sorry. I am undernourished, so I didn't roll up. Sorry. So I was saying that it's the first time since we had agreed on the zero hunger goal that we have the good news that hunger is coming down. All this 2015, 16, 17 numbers that we launched by coincidence or not coincidence, hunger has been going up every day. You know that FAO have a big number that's different from this one that we are launching today. The FAO talks about nourished people, all them, in the different phase. This report here, that is based on IPC methodology, make distinction on 5 steps, from the minimum to the limit that's people dying from hunger, that's famine. And we are presenting the numbers on phase 3 and 4 that are severe hunger, people that's on the brink to die, on the edge of dying, already dying. Let me say that. The methodology says that's a number of people dying from hunger on those countries. What's the good news is that there is a slight decline compared with the last figures last year. 124 million come down to 113 million. Not a big improvement, but this is an improvement we need to recognize. But the problem is when you go and open these numbers, this will be all highlighted later, but it says very clear that we still have the problem concentrate on countries under conflict. 2 out of the 3 people that are in this limit of dying from hunger lives in areas under conflict. This is the number, 2 out of 3. And the good news come not because this conflict, we reduce them, what's the man-made problem. This is still there, even increasing. The number reduced because the other component, that's the impact of climate change, came down because El Niño this year, until now, didn't show the damage that we saw last year, particularly in Africa, particularly in the Sahel. And there comes the point. 1 out of 4 of those people affected by acute hunger are under the impact of climate change. So climate change is responsible now for 1 out of 4 people that are near dying from hunger. The situation is even worse when there is an overlapping of the two. What means countries under conflict with impact of climate change. And this is basically Africa, Sahel, and the Near East countries. Prolonged drought in Yemen, for example, is making the things even worse than they are for conflict. This is the big picture. So, what we have to say on that? I would say that first, one of the main lessons that we learn, and I see here my dear friend David Beasley from WFP, we have been working on the ground on all those countries. And what we learn is that it's not enough to save lives. It's not enough to come with a package of food for the people that are near to die from hunger. To save lives, we need to save their livelihoods, where they live. Most of those peoples are in rural areas, are farmers, pastoralists. If we don't give to the pastor a herb back, what he will do? If you don't give to the farmer seeds to plant, what he will do? This is what we have learned. We need to act to save the livelihoods where those people are living. Because only saving life, saving the natural environment, you will be able to save their lives. There is a second learning also, that this is not something to be done alone. Nor FAO nor WFP can do much. We need governments on board. We need the political support of civil society and private sector. Hunger is not something that you combat with food only. The fundamental issue to combat hunger is the political will to eradicate hunger. This is what it's about. And if we don't have those compromises, if the society doesn't take it in their hands, we will not assure the right to food. And I see Evil here, the rapporteur of Right to Food, present in this event also. This is what we have learned. Eradicate hunger is an issue for a society. It's a political decision not to accept this in the 22nd century anymore. Let me close saying that we are delighted to be partners of European Union and the many other parts of the teams that we have here, OCHA, UNICEF, USAID, I would mention already World Food Program, IFPRI, and SEALS, some regional organizations like IGAD that are fundamental to be close to the people that are suffering hunger, close to the ground. There is where we are most needed on this. If we really need to defeat hunger, we need to be there. It's not enough to have these big meetings to alert. This is important to gain support, to gain political will, but we need to be there, act locally. This is one of the most important lessons that we have learned. And be present there all the time. It's not an excuse to go out when conflict intensifies. We know that. And conflict and hunger are directly related. Conflict intensifies, hunger intensifies. This is what we have learned. So we must be there all the time. I thank you for your presence, for your attention, and especially I thank you for your support. Thank you.